A major concern for any family business is the succession plan. Who will continue the business if it remains in the family? We have Chris and Mark Tanouye to share with us their experiences in growing up in the family business that was started by their late grandfather, Harold Tanouye. Chris Tanouye graduated with a BS nursing degree at Hawaii Pacific University and decided to join the family business. He oversees the Hilo and Oahu accounts as the sales manager of Greenpoint Nurseries. Meanwhile, Mark Tanouye received his Bachelor of Science degree in Horticulture at UH-Hilo and is continuing his work on his master's degree as a graduate student under advisor Dr. Tessie Amore at CTAHR. Chris and Mark, thank you very much for joining us today and presenting Growing Up in the Family Business. We will start with Mark.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mark Tanouye. I was asked just to speak a little bit about my experience growing up in the nursery and kind of what shaped, I guess, what I wanted to pursue now. Just for a quick introduction, of course, I received my bachelor's at UH-Hilo in 2019. And this is the start of my second year at grad school pursuing a master's degree at UH-Manoa, and I'm working under Dr. Amore. So over the time, I've been blessed to have a good teacher to kind of help shape, and I can learn a lot of the different practices for breeding and for propagation. I was lucky to have a hand in producing or propagating some of the material that you guys are actually deflasking. So it is nice to really see it being put for use. Growing up, I was always at the farm. I grew up being near the farm, just like my brothers. And during the summers, I would have to work at the farm. At that time, I'll be working with my older brother, John, who would kind of be the manager out there, and we would be working together. Growing up, of course, as a young man or a young teen, I didn't always want to be working out in the field during the summer when many other people would be doing any other free time. So there was a point where I did realize that I kind of took certain practices or just, I guess, farming. I didn't really buy into it as much as I should have. I took a lot of it for granted, I think. And when I was growing up, near graduating for high school, at one point I was thinking of going into a medical related field and pursuing like radiology. And I was really kind of set on that. But kind of right before I graduated high school, I kind of had sort of a revelation, I guess. I had a few realizations that there was so much more to agriculture because it's such a broad industry. And I kind of realized a lot of the different importance, as well as the different career tracks that are available, kind of what Dr. Amore was presenting on earlier. I also kind of realized that all the hard work that goes in not only for learning about plants and how they grow and how they adapt, but also learning about business and learning about investments and how everything works all together. So I realized that, it was definitely fun to do those aspects. And I enjoyed learning a lot of information that set me apart from, I guess, other peers during my age. When I'd be working with my brother, as I mentioned earlier. My brother John would be teaching me things on, why we do certain practices for the nursery, or why this happens, or you'd be looking into why things happen. So I basically took a lot of that pride in learning new things, and I actually really started to enjoy it and kind of see how everything connects together and learning just how cool and awesome plants are. During my time in high school and as well through my undergrad, I also had the opportunity to work at the Kino'olea Farmers Market in Hilo. So on Saturdays, I would be with a small crew, we'd be going out to the farmers market, and we would be selling some of our cut flowers that we would be harvesting that would be harvested that week. That was a great opportunity for me. That also kind of helped shape more of my interest and got me even more curious into different things. I was able to learn just a little bit of kind of marketing, customer service, really interacting with people in my community, as well as even answering interesting questions that people would be having Whether I really knew all the answers or I didn't, I tried to do as best I could. Fast forward, I decided to pursue a master's degree. Particularly, I wanted to learn more, and definitely there was so much more. There was so much that I didn't know. So I wanted really to specialize, and so I decided to further my education at UH-CTAHR, and I doing the hope of kind of reaching my ceiling and meeting my potential. Um, my I have my two older brothers, John, who is kind of working as production and propagation for the nursery, as well as my other older brother, Chris, who's kind of working in the sales direction. I kind of had a moment where I was thinking to myself, what could I bring to the industry, or what could I bring to the nursery, and how could I help? So I kind of I realized that maybe the next best bet was to go a little bit further. So I decided to pursue graduate school. Unfortunately, like my family didn't have the opportunity to always further schooling, so I decided to be a great opportunity, whether I could learn more and also share more to them, so we could help the industry and the business as well. As for my future, it's definitely still being shaped, keeping my options open, as I should say. It's definitely an understatement to say that being really young, it's definitely hard to make a decision on a career and exactly what you want to do. So I'm definitely keeping that in consideration. There's a lot of different directions, and I'm really glad that there's so many different directions that people in agriculture can take. A few things that I realized is there's a lot of other industries and countries that are definitely, it's a very competitive market, especially for floriculture. And the only way for Hawaii, I guess, to meet this industry, meet this competition is to continuously adapt and to improve in any ways that is possible. And so I'm thinking, whether I can share my knowledge through possibly opening up a tissue culture lab in the future and being able to help my business or my family business, or even helping other people create, clean planting material. It may be a possibility, or maybe I just want to pursue and help further research along the state or federal level. My kind of goal is just to be able to link growers, because that's at least something that I've been able to experience. And now I'm also experiencing a little bit of kind of research and development. And I think it'd be a great opportunity just for me to kind of find the link between those two things and try to help through my best ability. Yeah, so that's just what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Next up, we're going to have Chris.
Okay, hello everyone. Good morning. Thank you for having me here and allowing me to speak and kind of give you my learning experiences about me growing up on the farm. And like Mark mentioned before, we grew up there. I remember in my pre-elementary school days, spending time with my dad on the weekends, and then he would either be returning or making sales calls. He would be surveying the fields and taking notes, or even something as simple as buying oil for all the farm trucks and tractors that we have. In my elementary school age, I remember being dropped off after school by the school bus to the farm. We were required to do our homework first, and once we did that, we were kind of given free rein to, ride bicycles all around the farm property, and it gave us an opportunity which we kind of took for granted to see all the products that my grandfather and my father were growing. And just with all the colors, it was just always something nice to see. Let's see, at about age 14, when we were able to get our working permit, we were required to work on the farm. We weren't really given a choice, but it gave me great experiences of working in production, in the processing of the plant materials before shipping, and also dispatch, which is the packaging and shipping and the logistics of the shipping, and also in sales. All of that work taught me a lot about humility, because I worked alongside our employees who were there every day, doing a great job, working hard. We didn't receive any special treatment at all. We were kind of just like thrown in the tank, and then, you know, we were expected to work hard and do the best that we could. And that honestly taught me like the true meaning of hard work, because a lot of time was spent in the fields in the sun with a shovel, digging the cinder beds in preparation to get the plants into the ground. All right, after graduating high school, I was actually given a great opportunity of being supported by my parents to go to college and try and pursue something that was of interest to me. So for a few years, I was at UH, kind of doing undergraduate study, and at the summers, I would fly back home to the Big Island. Oh, and I forgot to mention that I was at UH-Manoa at this time. I would fly back home and work in the summers, and then when the semester started again, or fall semester started, I would fly back to Honolulu. Let's see, maybe in my 4th or 5th year, I transferred to HPU and got accepted into the nursing program. And so that kind of took me away from coming home during the summers because of either summer school or like a clinical rotation. So during that time, my parents kind of brought an opportunity up to me to actually open up a farmers market booth at the Kapiolani Community College Farmers Market, operated by the Hawaii Farm Bureau Federation. That was pretty awesome, and I'm still doing it today. It gave me a chance to earn a little extra spending money, because in college, you know, everyone's kind of broke. And it taught me more about the company, because a lot of customers would, you know, come and ask questions about what colors we have. Are we able to ship this somewhere? How do I take care of these flowers? Or my plant looks like this, what can I try and do? And so that kind of pushed me to get closer to the business, do a little bit more research and learn, so that I could educate these people, and they can, you know, enjoy their flowers, enjoy their plants, or even send them off to the mainland to relatives. So after graduation, I got my Bachelor of Science in Nursing. I really thought about the way that I wanted my career to go. And on one hand, nursing, or being a registered nurse, it does offer great pay. So that's, you know, very, very enticing to someone just out of college. And on the other hand, I saw the family business, and that family business was a vessel that kind of gave me everything that I needed growing up, and actually a lot more. It gave me a lot of things that I wanted, like Nintendo here and there, or a PlayStation. It was very providing for our family. And there was also a family legacy. It was a nursery that my grandfather started. When I looked at it more into detail, my dad came into the business at around, you know, I would say after high school or first year in college. And they worked really hard, and they grew the business, and, you know, did what they had to do. So to me, it didn't feel like an obligation to come back, because my father, he gave me a chance to go out, spread my wings, but he would always welcome me if I wanted to come back, and he did with open arms. And it felt like an honor to continue on the tradition of, you know, generation succession, and being the 3rd generation in the family business. Another motivation was when I really dug into the details and finally started understanding, you know, real life after college a whole lot more. I was kind of inspired by how my father came in, planned, and ran the business. And to me, it kind of struck a nerve that, you know, it's never going to be easy, but if you keep dedicated and you work really, really hard, and you plan really well, and you execute, you can actually live a good life being a farmer. And yeah, kind of like a light bulb went off. And so at that point, I kind of decided to put my nursing career on the back burner, and then slowly come into the business and start to learn. So fast forwarding to today, I am now 36. And the business actually has been growing, thankfully, with a lot of hard work from all of our employees, all the upper management, my father, and it's given me great opportunities to actually travel to many places around the world. Like Tessie Amore mentioned earlier, we attend the American Institute of Floral Designers Symposium just about every year, and that symposium is pretty much the top designers in all of the United States, who they come together, they do talks, they do educating, and they also bring in people and certify them to become AIFD members. And with that, I was able to travel to many major cities from Seattle, Anaheim, Chicago, Las Vegas, and it kind of hops around the United States every year. And internationally wise, I've been blessed to be able to travel to Thailand and Southeast Asia because we like to get out, and it's great to see the world. It opens your perspective and shows you that, hey, there's a lot of people doing a lot of big things, and it just does so much great for you to just broaden your horizon. And that's, you know, a positive thing. But anyways, after coming into the business, if it's done right, I am able to afford to, you know, support myself, live a great life. I live here in Honolulu. I am married now and to my wife, Jerby, and I have two sons, a 2-year-old and a 1-month-old. And all of this was possible because of hard work and just grinding it out every day. But that's kind of all the talking points that I have. Thank you for listening and allowing me to share.
Thank you, Mark and Chris. Here's a question from the audience. Mark, have you talked to your mother about where you would fit into Greenpoint Nurseries?
I think I've definitely spoke to her about it. My decisions definitely aren't made, but there's a lot of different opportunities around. So I definitely like to talk to my family and get their opinions on what they think.
Great. Chris, as the
Yes.
sales manager, how do you report to your father that last month's sales was down?
How do I report to my father that last month's sales were down?
Yes, if the previous month's sales figure did not meet expectations, how do you report that to him?
Well, face to face or over the phone, like a man, eye to eye. And if it's not good, I take my lickings and work harder.
And in front of the employees, how do you refer to him?
I refer to him as Dad.
I see. Okay, no special title, El Presidente.
No, Dad's good.
Okay, and you mentioned you have 2 sons. How do you plan to is there going to be a 4th generation for Greenpoint Nurseries? How would you give them that on-the-job training that you experienced growing up?
Well, as soon as they're old enough to kind of, you know, understand things, I want to tell them that, hey, you know, your grandfather and your great-grandfather and your dad are trying to work hard. And all this is a blessing that we have. And right when they're old enough, I'd send them back home so that they can work during the summer times just like I did.
One last question for either of you. Do you have any recommendations for students who want to get experience in floriculture?
Yeah, if they want to get experience or they're interested, simply reach out to a grower and then ask questions, and, you know, things can be worked out. They can come down, check out a work day, and ask all the questions they like. And we're more than happy to talk to them and have them there.
Thank you for sharing your experiences and thoughts about the family business with us.